morning, good morning. Please let me know in the chat if my sound is good. I'm sure you guys can hear me. I do have some music in the background, so if that's messing it up, I can turn that down. Please let me know. It will just be me today. Henry wanted me to tell you guys hello. He is traveling right now. But we will have plenty of stuff to go over today. I am excited. Can I get someone in the chat to just let me know that you guys can hear me loud and clear? Anybody? Yep. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Ismail, hello. Leslie, hello. Pablo, hello. Victor, what's going on? George, I just saw you pop in. We will get started in the next 4 minutes. Like usual, if you need to, go to the bathroom, get some drinks, get a snack, whatever you need. Right now, I did decide to go through Starbucks before I came and got on this call, so I've got my Starbucks. Should be very eventful, exciting call today. Until then, just hang tight. We'll get going in the next 4 minutes. We'll go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully everyone had a good week, both inside and outside of the markets. We did have CPI this week. Wasn't too crazy CPI, but it was CPI. Emmanuel, hello. Axel, hello. Sebastian, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you guys are. Me and Henry spent some time this week together. Still tackling a couple other things for you guys that are in the works. I'm not going to give away anything really right now, but in the next couple weeks, you guys will see some pretty big changes to the community. Some pretty cool, new, good changes. We're still probably a couple weeks out, so I'm not going to give anything kind of away, but I can say that in the coming weeks, there will be a place where, an all-in-one place where all this stuff will kind of take place, whether it's sending links, assignments, uploading your guys' results, all that stuff, being able to connect in chat and all this stuff. There will be an all-in-one place to do that stuff. Actually, we are trying to, it won't necessarily be like an email sent from me or anything like that. It will be a pretty cool idea. No, it's not a Discord. No, it's not a Telegram. We're trying to do something a little bit different than the regular mainstream norm. Going to try to give you guys something that hopefully you have not necessarily dealt with before. So I think that'll be really cool. Been working on branding and stuff like that, and I'm not gonna say what it is or show you guys anything yet because we still are working on it, but it is pretty cool. I think it's unique. I've had trading communities before. I've been in a couple, but I've also had my own before, and I think that this one is this one will be very special, I think. But me and Henry can obviously do whatever we need to do. But at the end of the day, the community is built around the community, right? You guys, not just me and Henry. But I will go ahead and get into it right now for at least the news part. Essence, hello. Father, I see you just hopped in. Hello, hello. Okay, so obviously not as crazy of a week as last week. Last week we had CPI. We'll get into the charts and all that good stuff in a minute. But for right now, nothing on Monday. Tuesday, you got pretty packed 8:30. You got core retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing Indexes, retail sales month. Both of those retail sales are month on month. Wednesday, you've got building permits at 8:30, 9:15. You've got industrial production month on month, and then obviously at 2 o'clock, you've got FOMC meeting minutes. So pretty volatile second half of the day there in the PM session on Wednesday, and then Thursday you've got 8:30 a.m. unemployment claims and a Fed manufacturing index. So for the most part, not a crazy week, but you do have FOMC on Wednesday in that second half. That day I really, for me at least as a trader, and I know I've said this a while, but there's that that last power hour of the session in the PM session on Wednesdays when FOMC talks. Unfortunately, though, that's from 3 to 4, and when you guys see the trading task, you will not necessarily be able to trade in that time. So keep that in mind, right? We're going to, as we start to open this up to you guys and start to deliver these trading tasks, remember, one, me and Henry are participating in it as well, but we are going to mix it up as the weeks go on, and we're going to, we're going to make it easy for you guys, but at the same time, it will continuously get a little bit harder. Don't think that you're going to walk through this every single week and have the results that are there, right? It's not made for that, right? We're not here to just give you guys stuff week after week that we feel as if you can just smash, right? We want to see where that threshold is. We want to see where we can kind of push you guys. But it is the first week, and we aren't going to necessarily stretch it too hard. But with regards to these tasks, right, they're going to be time sensitive. They're going to be, we're going to try to only give you X amount of trades per week in these time sensitive areas. And for this week, at least once we get into it, by 3 o'clock, you're not necessarily allowed to trade it in this week's task, at least. So that power hour is kind of off limits, but still study it, right? Other than that, do we have any questions before I get into the task? I will go ahead and just open that up to you guys and get your guys' feel on it. Before I get into that, any questions on news-related topics going into this week? Okay, all right. It doesn't seem as if we have anything there, so I will go ahead and jump into it. So this is just for right now while we are getting everything kind of worked out. It's just going to be a Google Doc that I'll download into a PDF and we'll attach into the email when I send out the recording. We will always go over it prior to the week, so if anyone has any questions or anything, obviously we can talk about it. But I'm just making a very simple Google document for right now, at least for the next, maybe the first 1 to 3 tasks. But then going into that, there will be kind of a place to go to always view it, and it's not necessarily going to be a document. There'll be a place to go view it at all times. So obviously this week, the first task we've got, obviously the overview of it is really the idea for this first task is just to simply get a fundamental base for what is to come, right? We're not going to try to push the pedal too hard or anything like that. We're going to just do an initial risk of 0.5% and then a secondary risk of 0.25% if needed. We're all going to use $100,000 demo accounts on TradingView. If you do not know how to set that up or go and initialize a demo account on TradingView, it's super easy. I can show you guys how to do this in this call as well. So we're going to do a $100,000 account with an initial risk on your first trade at 0.5% and secondary risk if needed at 0.25%. The goals are to either trade Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. We're going to leave that up to you. The times in which you can trade on those days is either 3 to 4 a.m., 9 to 11 a.m., and 1 to 3 p.m. That's why that power hour on Wednesday is not going to be effective to you, because you were supposed to be out of a trade by 3. Carson, if the power hours start, well, I get that. But at the same time, I want to see, and me and Henry want to see, if there's other areas this week where you might be able to potentially play. Study that, and if you see something unfold in that hour, bring that to the call. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to trade it, right? You can bring that and say, hey, I know we weren't trading this power hour, but blah, 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 right? This happened, I saw this, I could capitalize on this. That's good, right? Next month or next FOMC, we might say, hey, only trade the power hour. But this week, 3 to 4 a.m., 9 to 11 a.m., 1 to 3 p.m., those are the times in which you can trade. We're always going to be somewhat flexible because we don't know where all you guys are living. So we're going to try to at least spread out some things. Sometimes the tasks will have a lot more broad hours, right? We're giving you guys, especially in that New York AM session, we're giving you guys 2 hours. But sometimes we're going to dial it into specific macros. For the model, we're only wanting you guys to trade your model here, right? If you don't have a model, just try one. Try any one. Build one. At least for this, and that can always change. It can always be tweaked, but we're not going to tell you guys what to trade this week with regards to things you might be looking for to execute. We want to just see what you guys might pick and where you guys stand with regards to potentially watching things. Only 2 trades, okay? Maximum 2 trades, and I'll get into the specifications of that because some of you guys might use the 2 trades, some of you guys might only trade once, but only 2 trades. Profit target, very simple, 5 to 7 handles, and if you trade Forex, 7 to 10 pips. Okay, so that's basic. Michael's that needs to be the starting, right? You don't want to get to a mindset of, okay, well, I'm just gonna try to get 1 handle. No, we're gonna start at 5 and we'll slowly make our way up, and sometimes we'll have harder assignments that will cause for even just 5 to 7 handles. Don't think that just the first week we're going to go to 5 to 7 handles and every week we're going to up it. Sometimes, but also we will sometimes cut down the amount of handles for you guys because of certain things in the assignment. But for right now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 to 4 a.m., 9 to 11 a.m., 1 to 3 p.m. All of this stuff is Eastern Standard Time. So I will add this too. This is all Eastern Standard Time. For the specifications of the task, if you win your first trade, stop trading. No second trade is allowed. So if on your first trade you do go get 5 to 7 handles, stop trading. That's it. There should not be a second trade on the account. If you lose your first trade, you're going to utilize your second trade to only mitigate 50% of the initial loss. We do not want you guys to try to get it all back in one. Only 50%, right? That's the only that's the amount that we want you guys to mitigate. We don't want you guys to try to get it all back, right? And if both trades are a loss, the total weekly loss should be around 0.75% with 2 losses. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be exact, but because I know some of you guys are still gonna have trouble calculating all this stuff, but we'll dial it in. But we want it give or take, $50, right? Above or below $50 when dealing with all this stuff, right? So, and I know that we're not having an exact handle, right? But I'm giving you guys a threshold of like 2 handles and then 3 pips, just to allow for whatever that profit target might be. If it's a high, if it's a low, it'll allow you to stretch it. But that's something that we're not going to really dial in until we get a little bit into it. The max profit for the week should be 0.5%, and that's obviously the only way you achieve that is if you hit it on the first trade. So be picky, right? Be very picky on your trades. But if you do win that first trade, it should be around 0.5%. Utilize a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 1. Obviously, we'll build into it, but right now just 1 to 1, right? If you're aiming for 5 pips or 7 pips, have a 7 pip stop loss, right? If you're aiming for 5 handles, have a 5 handle stop loss. If you're aiming for 7 handles, have a 7 handle stop loss, right? That should be kind of the moral of right now, just 1-to-1, right? Mirror that risk to reward for now. Journal each trade that you might take, and when you journal it, just at least for now, journal the duration of the trade, how long were you in it, journal the time of day, and journal your emotions before, during, and after. Okay? And then please screenshot the results by the end of the day on Thursday. We will have a place where you guys can submit them, but as for right now, we will probably just have you email into the email that sends out the midweek calls and all this stuff. So basically my email, you can email those results. And if you do not email and you do hop on the call, we could potentially call on you. So make sure you have those. And the way we're going to realize and the way we're going to hold you guys accountable, and myself and Henry, is as the weeks go on and as you continue to screenshot your results, we will know if you are resetting your account if your prior week's results are not showing up on your screenshot, right? So next week, when we go to do the task and you do your results, you are going to have to screenshot that. And if you screenshot it and we don't see the trades that you took the week before, we know you resetted it, right? Because those trades would still be there, right? We're trying to hold you guys accountable. We're trying to make sure that no one tries to cheat any of this, because at the end of the day, it's not here to cheat. It's not here to be the person that's always coming up and saying, oh, well, I did this. No, just take it for what it is. Try your best. Put your maximum effort in it and deal with the results later, right? We're here to fix and tweak the results. We want you guys to actually get benefit out of this. And if you just are constantly resetting the account, that's not going to do anything, because you cannot do that live. You cannot reset your account live, right? Not that quickly. So that is basically the entirety of the task. It's not too hard, but at the same time, we're trying to get a start, trying to get a fundamental basis of this. And then if anyone has any questions about this, please let me know. It's pretty self-explanatory, but does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns with this? You think you guys can do it? All right, well, this is the task. This will be attached into the email. When I send the recording out. And have fun, right? That's the thing. Have fun. Be very picky, right? You get 2 trades, right? And even if you lose your second trade, you should automatically know that you're not going to finish the week in profit, right? That second trade is only there to mitigate 50% of your loss, right? We're going to teach you guys how to do this the right way. Emmanuel, yes.
Yeah, good day, Carson.
Hello.
Hello everyone. Carson, I quickly want to ask a question about the trading days.
Yep.
It's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or are we going to be trading either of those days or all of those days?
Nope. Either of those. Those are for you to pick. So here, I'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And there, I'll add that too. So you can trade you can trade either of them, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. We're giving you kind of those days to go in and hunt. And like I said, if you decide to trade on Tuesday and you take that initial loss, you don't have to trade that second trade that same day, right? Give it a day. If you trade on Tuesday and you lose, you might not have that second trade until Thursday, right? You only get 2 trades, and that first trade, if you win, great. That's all good, right? Boom. Now there shouldn't be another trade, right? If you win, that's a key thing too. If you win that first trade, you stop trading for the week. There's no second trade. So if you come, if you at the end of the week, if you come and show your results and your first trade was a win and there's other trades in your history, you failed, right? Even if you won the second trade or whatever, that is part of it. Every little thing matters. So you can complete this task successfully even without making money or being in profit, right? If you win your first trade, stop trading. If you do that, you're good. You successfully completed it. If you lose your first trade and you mitigate only 50% of the initial loss, you're good. You successfully completed it. Or if you lose both trades and you have a total weekly loss of in and around 0.75% with only 2 losses, you still successfully completed it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the proper way to trade, right? All 3 of those are just as good. Yes, obviously, we all know which one's the best one is. Yes, you win your first trade, you stop trading. Yeah, obviously you're in profit. That's good. This isn't a race to see who can get the most out of their accounts. These tasks are not going to be set up to try to get you guys to have these big gains. Okay, we're building the fundamental aspect of trading, following certain outcomes that could potentially unfold and how to do it in the professional proper way, whether that's encountering back-to-back losses, whether that's encountering a loss and mitigating it, or whether that's winning and knowing when to stop, right? There's going to be days where we're going to get, it's not always going to, these will always change, right? It's not always going to be once you win your first trade, stop trading. There will be times where we try to get you guys to win 3 trades in a week, or we don't give you guys, we're not going to give you guys an amount of trades to take. We're just going to give you guys a percentage to stretch for, and you guys break that into a certain amount of trades. But you can, we might say, hey, try to go get 4% this week, but you can only trade up to 6 trades, right? Something like that.
Okay.
We'll get into that as time goes on. But with regards to the days, the only time we're going to say, hey, only trade this day is if this is only one day. If this has several days, that's up to you to pick. But obviously, if there's just one day that we might be giving you guys, that means we only want you guys to trade that one day. There might be a specific news event that we're wanting you guys to potentially try to look into and see if you can capitalize a trade following that. And that might be only one day. You might only have one day of trading. Any other questions? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate these rules and they'll really guide me, and I will try my best to always submit my assignments.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right. All right.
I'll be and like I said, first and foremost, me and Henry will be the first ones to go over our trades, right? And I I could have I could start the week like this, right? I could lose both trades, right? But if I lose both trades, it will be at 0.75%, right? And depending on where you guys are following the weeks, I will add that, right? Because if you follow the rules going into the following week, if you are in this category going into next week, it's going to be a little skewed towards you, right? If you are in this category going into next week, there's going to be something that's a little bit more skewed to you. Or if you're in this category for this week going into next week, it's going to be a little bit skewed to you, right? We're going to try to follow the individuals on where they are, whether you're coming off of wins last week, whatever the case is. And the good thing is like, let's say you just don't win a single trade for 3 straight weeks, right? There will be potentially that 4th week. Guess what your goal is? Don't trade. Don't take a single trade, right? We're gonna try to do this the real way, because and that's gonna lead me into my next thing. I really, really encourage all of you guys to start putting the habits in motion right now for next year. The one thing that I've always had an upper hand on is I love the idea, right? Everyone starts their New Year's resolutions on January 1st. I hate that. Start your New Year resolution on August 13th. Start it now. Get stuff, because I promise you, if you take this stuff seriously and you go in to this next back half of the year just absolutely committed, next year will be your breakthrough year. I have no doubt in my mind. If you can take this stuff seriously, if you can do whatever you need to do outside of trading to get so connected inside of trading, and that doesn't necessarily have to mean consistently trading, right? You're gonna at some point in time have to learn how to just sit there and watch and not feel anything and not press that button. Even if it looks super good, right? You're gonna have to learn that. But if you can take this second half of the year, me and Henry are going to work our ass off to try to get what we need to get in front of you guys to potentially get that. And not only to you guys, but more to grow the community. But we're going to really try this next back half of the year to hold you guys accountable. And if you guys can take this stuff seriously, I promise you next year will be your breakthrough year. I'm certain of it. Any other questions, comments, concerns here? How many contracts can we trade mini or micro? So that just, I mean, so that's something that I'm gonna have Henry work out with you guys. But we will. Right now, I believe it's just 1 to 2 contracts. It should just be one contract, I believe, right now. I think it's just one contract, and I'm gonna add that actually before I send it out. I wanted to kind of calculate it and go mess around with it because I forget because it's been a while since I've traded on the contract form of it's been a while since I've traded the contract form on TradingView. I believe it's one contract. It should just be one contract across the board. With Forex, I'm not 100% sure. I would potentially say before even the week starts, go ahead and just, if you want to just put in a couple contracts to see where that hits at 5 to 7 handles, right? You put in a contract, let it float 5 to 7 handles and see where that is. And then you can then reset it, right? It's okay if you guys sit there and just for like, since you can't trade on Monday, I'm perfectly, yes, it should be around $250. So it would be basically 2 contracts, if that's correct. But even if you wanted to just sit there and let it fluctuate and see what it looks like with 1 and 2 contracts, and then reset it once you know, that's perfectly okay. But I'm gonna have Henry, because Henry knows the calculations better than I do. I'm gonna let him add that section, but it'll be in this top part when you guys see me send it. It'll be in the overview under this account balance. It'll basically always tell you what contract size to potentially use. But it will no more be the 2 contracts, at least for this stuff because it's so small. But yeah, 1 to 2 contracts. Ismail, yes.
Carson, if I trade, let's say NQ, what would be like a profit target? 20 handles? I remember ICT said around.
Yes, that's another thing because I don't trade NQ. That was another thing I need Henry to do. I'll add. So what I'll do is I'll do. This will be ES. This will be Forex. And then I'll have. I can't remember what it is. I'll have Henry add that in, and then I'll have another section that will have the NASDAQ too.
If I remember correctly, I think ICT said it's 20 handles.
Yeah, like 5 handles on ES is 20 handles on NASDAQ. I think that might have been right. I'm gonna let Henry just go and fill that in before I send that out today. So yeah, I'll make sure to I guess instead of NASDAQ I'll put NQ. That makes sense. Now if you do not have this is another thing too. If you do not have the data, the live data for NQ or ES, just trade US 100, just trade SPX 500 or US 500. That's perfectly okay. We use lots. Okay. Yeah, I did not really think about that. Okay, so what I will do is I will go and calculate. I will calculate that and I will add that too. So here I'm just gonna add this then because there's a couple to be determined for US 500, 7 to 10 pips for Forex. Oops. Yeah, so we'll break that down a little bit more. We'll add the contract size and or the lot sizes for those. And like I said, feel free on Monday or even when the market opens today to just really quickly create a $100,000 demo account and just start playing around, throw a couple different lot sizes or contracts in, and see where that potentially starts to hit at about a 0.5% and even 1/4%. And then you can reset it, right? I don't mind you guys resetting that before Tuesday. So I will sit down with Henry in the next hour, or not in the next hour, but an hour or two once he gets done traveling. I'll call him and get on a quick call with him and kind of factor that stuff in. And then feel free to do your own due diligence on Monday. But then come Tuesday, you guys will make sure. Well, this will be out tonight too, so you can also follow this once I post it tonight and get all these filled in. But then Tuesday, reset it, and then that'll be the account that you use for the coming weeks. Good questions there, really good questions there. I'm glad that we covered that, and because I knew I had missed a couple things. So when I do send this out, yes, Emmanuel.
Carson, sorry for dragging you back for
No,
the
you're good.
0.25 for the 0.25% and 0.25 and 0.5% of would it be of the $100,000 account? That is 0.5% of the $100,000 account, which will be equals to I think $500.
Yeah, so 0.5% is $500, and then 1/4% is $250. So your first trade, you're risking 500 to make 500. Your second trade, you're risking 250 to make 250. And if you lose both, your first trade would be a loss of $500, and your second trade would be a loss of $250. So your overall loss would be $750.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All good stuff there. I will, if no one has anything else, I'll make sure to add all that stuff in before I send it out in the afternoon. Can we change trade ideas from ES one day to NQ another day to YM another? Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'll talk with Henry, but if it's something you feel comfortable with, yes, I will add YM to this, by the way, for those who like to trade YM. This is for rest 30. I will add those as well. If you guys feel comfortable with that, yeah, that's perfectly fine. We're keeping it very broad in this first week. There will be a week where we tell you guys to pick one thing and just trade that. But for now, we will let everything be very broad. Some weeks will be a little bit more broad. We're going to kind of let you loose on some things, and then some weeks will be kind of a little bit more strict and confined, and we'll just say, hey, trade. We're not going to tell you to just all trade ES, but we're going to say, hey, out of ES, US 500, one specific Forex pair, NQ, US 100, YM, US 30, pick one of those and just trade that throughout the week. But that does not necessarily factor into this week. You guys can flip around, obviously only twice because there's only 2 trading opportunities, but yes, that is okay. Anything else? All good questions. All right. Oh, here we go. Isn't 100K to start a bit unrealistic? Most profits out. Hold on. Isn't 100K to start a bit unrealistic? Most prop firms that offer $100,000 accounts really only let you use 3,000. Well, look at what you're risking. So, I mean, yes, but this is you're risking no more than $500. And I guess yeah, with the 3K, I've never utilized like the top step type accounts. I've always done, FTMO. So that's something that maybe I'll have to talk with Henry about. But if it's something that we feel as if isn't necessarily, Henry's done all that stuff. I don't want to speak too much on it because I'm not used to like the Apex style accounts or the top step accounts. But we'll look into it. Right now the risk is it's try not to think about it from a funding perspective. Just think about it from just a flat trading perspective, because that can get a little tricky. Right now, we're not really worried about the percent or anything like that. We're not worried about how much you're making. We're just fundamentally just trading, right? It's all hypothetical, and we're just trying to get more the base of the fundamental rules and how to kind of follow on results, right? All these numbers can change, right? The risk that you're trading, right? If it is $3,000 or whatever the case is, you can take all this stuff and then adjust it to what you have, right? We're just utilizing $100,000 just because it's easy to factor in, percents and stuff like that. And then also at the same time too, we didn't want to pick. We would rather at least get you guys accustomed to seeing the big numbers fluctuate, right? That doesn't necessarily mean, that's not to get you emotional or to set unrealistic expectations. It's really just to get a fundamental mindset of where the percents are, how to handle, wins, losses, all that stuff. If it's something we want to potentially alter to, we might give different account balances in the future. But right now, this is all just we're figuring it out. We'll kind of get into the nitty gritty details once we kind of get into it. But yeah, it's more of just a fundamental thing right now. Axel said the fundamental work should be the focus. When you eventually apply to a prop firm, you will adjust the risk accordingly to be within the rules. Yeah. So I mean, this is really just solely to just have everyone be an even playing field. And like I said, if you do go into a prop firm that allows you to really only use $3,000, then adjust it to that, right? You're still going to be potentially risking 0.5%, or 0.25%, or whatever that case is, on just the $3,000, right? That can always be taken elsewhere and mirrored. But that's a really good question, because I forget that some people trade like Top Step accounts and stuff like that. But yeah, don't worry about like the numbers side of things. I did like the idea of $100,000 because I want to at least get you guys exposed to that, so you guys can understand those numbers fluctuating. And if you can trade it with this, right? If you can do it with $100,000 and all of the percents that we might use here, right? When you go into that maybe $100,000 account that only allows you to have 3% risk, or I'm at $3,000 of risk, right? Those numbers are going to be a lot smaller, so you're a lot less emotional, right? I would rather get those numbers in front of your face now and expose you to them as much as I can, so when you do go into something like that and you have to dial down the risk percentage or the numbers accordingly, right? It's not new to you, right? It's something, it's like, it could be, a third or a half of what you were doing in this, and those numbers are a lot more obtainable and they're easier to manage emotionally. But I'll talk with Henry. That's a great question, and we'll see what that might entail. Any other questions? All good questions. Shouldn't we do video submissions to avoid people going should we do video submissions to avoid people going way red all day, only to end the day with a win? In reality, they'd cut the trade at $500. You could do video submissions. That's not going to hurt. To avoid people going way red all day to end the day with a win. Well, they only have. That's the thing, is there's a maximum of 2 trades. So there's only so many. These are the only outcomes that could potentially unfold, right? If you trade more than 2 trades, you failed. Like you failed the challenge. You can only trade twice, right? And you can never. If you lose your first trade right here, right? If you lose your first trade, you only can utilize that second trade to mitigate 50% of the loss, right? That's the best you can do. So really, there's only they wouldn't necessarily end the day with a win. I'm kind of a little confused there, because it's you could end the day with a win, yes, but if it's your second trade, you're still down $250. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe yes, maybe no. So you don't mind if I lose $99,000 as long as I'm no. No, that's incorrect. You only can your risk is this. It's only 0.5%. I'm very confused on what you're saying because there's two trades that you can only take, right? Your first trade you're risking 0.5%, which would be $500. Your secondary trade, your secondary risk would be 0.25%. If you took two trades and you lost both of them, you would be down 0.75%, which means that doesn't make any sense. You would be down $750, 0.75%, and you could no longer trade anymore. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I'm not understanding your second thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really understanding that, but either way, if there's something that you want to ask too, you can hop on the mic and ask. But okay. Anything else before I go into the charts? Anything else? Anything else here before I go into the charts? I'm not sure. Obsidian, if you have more questions about it, you can email me and I can kind of help you figure it out. I'm not really sure what you were talking about there. I don't know if you're trolling or whatever the case is. I'm not too worried about it. Other than that, that's about it. Okay, we will go into DXY first. Let's see. DXY. If you were on the midweek review, or you saw the midweek review, a couple things I was looking at. We had a pretty choppy week, but basically, I was looking for these relative equal highs to be taken. As you can see, on Thursday, we did end up taking them. I was talking about watching just the lower half of this breaker block to see how we reacted. We ended up going out of it, but did not like being out of it. Didn't necessarily get down to this busy sell side liquidity or anything like that, but we did push right back up. Now we fully filled this SIBI, so I'm kind of still eyeing higher prices, but I'm kind of watching to see because we did not close out of it at all. If you can see in here too, we still have this SIBI up here, but looking at the weekly candle, I think we could potentially start going for the SIBI for start of next week. I'd be curious to see when and how we trade to that. I think if going into this week, if we trade up here by FOMC or whatever the case is, see what it does, right? I would, if we go through it easily, I would like to see it act as resistance, or excuse me, support, and then we basically could take this buy side liquidity, right? That would be where my next eyes are. If that's not the case, you could also, if we do for whatever reason come into here, I would like to see price potentially come back down to this level, right? And at least just come back down into here. Because now we have what? Relative equal lows, right? We've got sell side liquidity here. But I'm more eyeing this buy side liquidity still. So just keep these highs in mind, keep the SIBI in mind as we go into this next week. with ES, a couple things that we were looking at on the midweek review. So if you go into a weekly, right, we were talking about the mean threshold of this propulsion block, right? The mean threshold is right here. Me and Henry were talking about that. If you go down into a daily, I have this BISI and this BISI right here highlighted with their quarter points as well as their consequent encroachments. You can see we closed the low of this daily candle, or low of the week, comes in at 44.59 flat, and this is 44.5675, so very close from the mean threshold. But you can see the nice price delivery. We closed outside of both of these BISIs, so I'm curious. For right now, I would want basically price, if price is going to continue going lower, I would want it to maintain the consequent encroachment of this candle, right? So this 3/4, right? Notice how the consequent encroachment of this down close wick is also the quarter point of that other weekly BISI. If we pull up into here, I would be looking to see how we react to the downside. If we get above it, right, I would want to see it react to the downside and then just continue going lower potentially. Potentially fill more of this. That is to say, if dollar goes higher. If we do decide to come into here and we go above this, I would like price to be pretty sensitive to that top half as inversion to go higher, right? That could be a play for buy side, filling all of this. But because I see higher prices in dollar, it would be more ideal for price to come up into here. Use this as an order block. Draw out the 50% of it. A lot of confluence to this third quarter point on the weekly BISI. And I would like it to potentially come back all the way down, right? And then just kind of start utilizing potentially that as resistance. And then I'm also eyeing these relative equal lows. So keep these in mind. Like I said, keep that weekly propulsion block in mind. This is the weekly BISI that I'm talking about. Right, we've got a little civvy right here. But I think that is a little bit of a stretch, especially if we're going to see higher prices on dollar. But I would say if we go higher on dollar, utilize that. If we go lower on dollar, utilize all this. And I want to add something real quick. ICT shared something on Twitter really quick, and I wanted to share you guys because I think that this is, if you can really get this down, this will help your trading tremendously. Let me find it. Right here. Okay. If you can figure out this, you will be just okay. Right? That's why when me and Henry come in and we say, hey, if dollar goes higher, look for this draw on liquidity on ES. If dollar goes lower, look for this draw on liquidity on ES. Right? You pair that, whatever that draw on liquidity is, you pair that with some form of economic calendar day, right? For this week, it'd be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You let price trade the opposite, right? If price is going to go higher, let that week open and let price go lower. Then, when price goes lower, wait for something to happen, some form of displacement in the direction of the weekly draw on liquidity, right? Wait for it to show you that it is actually going to go there. Find some form of BISI or SIBI in that displacement price swing and enter in and around those levels. This is golden. This is something that you can take every single week, not every single week, but almost basically, yeah, every single week and find something, right? And maybe it's not always a fair value gap. That's why we're going to, over this next couple weeks, we're going to try to open it up more to just not necessarily your model, but give you guys specific things to look for, whether it's order block, breaker, propulsion block, fair value gap, inverted fair value gap, all these different things, because that you can repeat this over and over and not just use a fair value gap. You can figure out whatever PD array it is, right? This is really, really good. This is where you should just be trying to get a hold of, right? What's the weekly draw on liquidity? What's the economic calendar days that I can participate in, right? And then from there, those first two right there, once you understand that, you can immediately start forming your trade, right? If the weekly draw on liquidity for ES this week is those relative equal lows, or even the previous week's low, if that's the draw on liquidity, that means it's going to need to go lower, which means I would need to wait for price to go in the opposite direction, higher, right? If the price goes higher, I now need to wait for price to displace in the direction lower towards that draw on liquidity. And then in that, whatever that displacement price swing is, I find that specific premium array or discount array. If it's going lower, it would be premium. I'd find that premium array and then wait for a specific time element to unfold, and then I would enter. I don't have, you're not aiming for this. That's just getting you on the right side of the market. You could get 5 handles and get nowhere near the weekly draw on liquidity. Perfectly fine. You can get 10 handles, 15 handles. The weekly draw on liquidity might be 70 handles, 60 handles, 50 handles away. You might only get 5 to 10. Perfectly okay. That's where you set. This is where you can really get set up for success. I just wanted to share that. But for the most part, I know we had some people join in a little late, but yes, Leslie. I did not take. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, it said wait for the opposing. So if my bias is sell side, then I'm gonna wait for buy side to be taken and then wait for the displacement to the sell side. Is that correct?
Yeah, so
Okay.
here, this is what I'll draw a little diagram for y'all. So, or I can even just show you on the chart, right? Let's say we have a clear census that this is the draw on liquidity, right? These relative equal lows. This is going to be your weekly draw on liquidity. All right. Price opens up, and we know, let's just say our economic calendar is Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And we can have time, what's that time? What are the times that those are released? You can have that out there. And let's say on Monday, price pushes all the way up, right? let's say Monday price pushes all the way up into this level. Well, the weekly draw on liquidity is down here. So this would be move in opposite direction. Right? That's your move in the opposite direction. And then you have displacement, whatever that displacement is. Right? You have displacement in direction of draw on liquidity. One. Right, you've got the move in the opposite direction, you've got displacement in the direction of the draw on liquidity. Now you look to see where is the premium rate in this displacement. In this price leg, where is that displacement? Maybe it's literally right at equilibrium, right? Maybe it comes all the way back up to like equilibrium. That's your retracement higher. That's your retracement. Now, this is where you're looking for your trade, right? And you don't have to get this, right? You could have it could be anything, right? This could just be your trade. Right? And it could be 5 handles of this, 10 handles of this, right? But it doesn't ever have to be this. You don't have to stretch for this. But you could get this. You could even just get this. Right? And think about it. If this happened on Monday, sorry, I had someone try to call me. If we moved in the opposite direction on Monday, we displaced in that direction of the draw on liquidity on Tuesday, and then retraced into that price swing on Wednesday, either Wednesday or Thursday, you got a trade. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. Thanks.
You're welcome, not a problem. And that's really why a lot of this stuff is, the name of the game is patience. Patience, 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 patience. Because you're going to say, Carson, well, why would we not, why would you not trade up here? Because what if it just kept going higher, right? The reason why you wait, even though this might have been the high of the week, the reason why you wait is because of the confidence and the accuracy that goes on down here. You had all this stuff necessarily play out to be able to potentially, when you get into a trade, right? You get into that trade with confidence, with a reason, a rhyme and a reason behind why you do it, why you're entering it, right? So you need to build a case. You need to be a lawyer in a courtroom, and you need to say, this is why I'm entering this trade. And it's not just because, oh, it's something that I've seen before. No, you need to have this, you need to build this beautiful like case of evidence of why you actually think that when you go into the market, it's going to do what you think you're going to do. Yeah, Ismail just posted something for a weekly profile by AM Trades. If you guys want, when I do the recording, obviously you guys can have the chat, but go ahead and copy that in there if you guys want. But this is really where you want to get to, because if you guys had $1 million in an account, one trade a week, risking 0.5%, pretty damn good. You don't need more than that, right? Pretty damn good. You want to get to that idea, right? So it's not, okay, well, because I don't have $1 million, I've got to trade more. No, Trade less, trade less, trade less, trade less. Get one good trade a week. Start somewhere. And just by doing 1 to 2 good trades a week will lead you into, it grows patience, right? So that's just something that could potentially unfold. It could be the complete opposite if you were bullish, right? And the draw on liquidity was here. Let's just say up here. Let's say that was the draw on liquidity. Right? Buy side liquidity. Weekly draw on liquidity. Right? That was the draw on liquidity. Right? You would have maybe something like this. Let me see 1 second. You could have move in opposite direction. Price could go lower. You could have displacement in the direction of the draw on liquidity. You could have some form of retracement. And then you could have your trade. Get it? Because it's buy side liquidity. A draw is on buy side. So you need price to go lower on Monday or Tuesday, whatever the case is. You need it to displace in the direction of wherever this draw on liquidity is. You need it to retrace into some form of PD array, and then you can trade it. All good there? But yeah, Henry's not here. There's really not too much on the chart side of thing right now that I have. I don't have any trades. I've been working all week with Henry, just trying to build some of this stuff for you guys. We'll have a lot to go over next week when we do actually have some trades to go over. Other than that, does anyone have any questions or any charts that they want me to go over? I will make sure when I post that recording to have that task in there as well. I will factor in what contract size to use, what both US 500, US 100, US 30, YM, all that stuff. I will make sure to get that stuff squared away also. Does anyone have any other questions, comments, or concerns? Kind of a quick week, but I at least wanted to get you guys in front of that stuff so you guys can start to think and start game planning. And then next week we will have a bunch of trades to go over. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, I will do calculations for lot sizes too. I will factor in contract size and lot size to help you guys out. Anything else? All good? Thank you guys for hopping on. I do appreciate it. Good luck this week. Like I said, it's not always what you do inside the markets, it's what you do outside the markets. Start now, build now, right? You guys and myself included, we only got one shot at this thing called life, right? So all that little shit that you get messed up in and you continuously, constantly do, and it's hard to say no, just say no, right? Get a little selfish. Start becoming a little bit. The best thing you can do is become subconsciously selfish towards yourself, right? There's such a bad negative connotation towards the word selfish. Being selfish is good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Learn to say no, right? If you want to do something, do it. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. Because whatever it is, or whoever it is that's trying to get you to do something that you want to do or you don't want to do, they're not going to die with you, right? They're not going to die with you. So you got to start taking accountability of what you want to do or what you don't want to do. Start the habits now. Start forming them now. Take this back half of the year and use it as, a preseason for next year for yourself. I promise you will have breakthroughs, right? I appreciate you guys. Other than that, I'm trying to think. There's really nothing too much from my end. I'm not, very short call today, only 1 hour. I don't know if it's not letting me. Please mute yourself. Thank you. But yeah, that's really about it for me. Very short call, but hopefully a lot of that stuff made sense. I'm excited not only to get into these tasks for the weeks, but to also just share what me and Henry have been working on. I think you guys will like it. I think it's pretty cool. I think it'll be special, and I'm excited to see not only where you go, but where we go as a community. Right? It'll be cool. Other than that, I'll stop jibber jabbering, and I will let you guys have a good half of your Sunday. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you guys soon. Trade safe.